I was heartbroken when my parents forced me to give up my prom dress to my spoiled sister. A few days later, Grandma arrived and completely upended my life. I'm a 17-year-old girl in need of some guidance. My senior prom was a week ago, and it has caused me many problems in my life. I'm at a loss for what to do, so I've turned to Reddit for assistance. Please be patient, as this may be a bit lengthy. I had everything ready and had their permission to attend, but at the last minute, plans changed, and I was once again made the scapegoat of the family to stay at home while my sister went to prom. My sister Casey, a 19-year-old woman, is undoubtedly the favorite child of the family. My family adores her. Casey and I had many issues growing up because she disliked having a younger sister and would frequently yell at my parents and me about how we ruined her life by getting her a younger sibling. For some reason, my parents didn't see anything wrong with her behavior and continued to try to make amends by denying me possessions for 17 years of my life. I watched my sister receive everything while I was left with scraps. My parents' solution to this was to apologize profusely to Casey and tell me to lock myself in my room and not be out and about the house. Basically, to just stay out of their paths so that Casey feels less ignored. I don't know why Casey feels ignored since she gets more love and attention from my parents anyway, but I guess it's just not enough for her. On rare occasions when my parents refused to give her anything I had, Casey would end up destroying my belongings and occasionally even become physically aggressive towards me. I have had no support from anyone since I was very young. My parents had instilled in me the idea that I had to make concessions for Casey and let things go because she had a difficult time. They refused to discipline her for damaging my belongings and hurting me whenever she lost control of herself, and they always had an explanation for what Casey did to me. After a few years, I stopped complaining to my parents because it was pointless, and I just tried to live a quiet life and work hard in my studies to get good grades. My only objective in life is to leave this place, especially my parents and sister. I was hoping to stay out of trouble with them again, but then my favorite child's sister failed to graduate twice, and this was her senior prom. You would think that she would take all of this pampering and use it to better herself, but instead, she was busy partying and wasting time on the internet because she never faced the consequences of failing her classes. She lives like a princess. A couple of hours before prom, Casey entered my room with my parents and asked me to give her my prom dress because she wanted to wear it to prom. For goodness sake, do you know how much they spent? I knew this would happen, so I was wise enough to save up some cash after working odd jobs around town, so I was able to get my prom dress even though Casey wasn't happy about it. I'm not sure what her issue was, but when I bought my dress, she didn't say much, thinking it wouldn't be an issue. However, an hour before prom, she demanded my dress, saying she liked it better and that she deserved it, of course. What about her dress? She returned it and used the money to buy new makeup. What did my parents do in this situation? They gave my dress to Casey while I stayed at home. It seems like she deserved it and deserved to go to prom, but I didn't. I'm not sure what their reasoning was, but I didn't argue much. In any case, the moment my parents sided with Casey, I was done fighting with them because I didn't want that. I called my date and told him I wouldn't be going, then stayed in my room and sobbed my makeup off. I had to wear my dress and leave, but Casey had other plans for me, so I cried and skipped. I didn't care about it because I was so accustomed to it. However, 2 days later, my paternal grandmother, a 66-year-old woman, called and asked why I hadn't sent her pictures of my prom. I told her the truth because I couldn't bear to lie to her, and she was furious on my behalf. I asked her not to do it because I knew they would punish me if they found out. I started crying and pleaded with my grandmother not to confront them, but she listened to me before inviting me out and taking me to my favorite restaurant to eat. My parents complained about it, but they were powerless to stop her. My grandma surprised me by getting me a brand new MacBook for school. She was upset about what had happened and felt that I deserved something special, so she bought me a new laptop. She knew that I hadn't had a new device because I always got what my sister threw away, so I tried to refuse, but she wouldn't hear me. I was happy to have the new laptop, but I knew Casey would be furious if she found out, so she started yelling and screaming when I returned home. The only reason my parents haven't taken away my laptop is that I've been threatening to call Grandma and tell her everything, but the pressure isn't stopping. I'm truly afraid of my sister now, and I'm doing everything possible to avoid her. I didn't want her to hurt me again, and I would rather not give up the laptop, but this time I just went into my room and shut myself in. It's been 5 days already, and Casey is being difficult. I'm the one who has to sacrifice everything all the time, but my sister says that everyone treats her unfairly. I'm so sick of this. I'm living in constant anxiety, and it's seriously affecting my mental health. Finals are coming up, so I have to study, but I can't focus on it because the house is tense, and it won't change if I don't give up the laptop. Would I be foolish if I didn't give my laptop to my sister? My parents believe so, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I think I might be foolish, but I'm not sure. My sister and I felt that it was unfair that I got to enjoy a nice dinner and receive a gift while my sister received nothing. My parents are a little afraid of my grandmother because she's a pretty strong-willed woman, so they don't dare to call her about it. Similarly, my sister Casey is aware that her grandmother doesn't approve of her life choices or condone her behavior. In fact, she has essentially shut her down every time she acts out in front of her. Therefore, over time, she has realized that she needs to keep her behavior in check around her. A lot of you have wondered why Grandma has never defended me before, and the answer is simple. She didn't know the whole truth about my situation. No one knows what goes on in the house. When we were young, they witnessed some favoritism and confronted my parents about it. Instead of changing their behavior, my parents simply started to hide things from them. I'm always under strict orders not to tell anyone anything. They threatened to ground me or even kick me out if I did. My parents have engaged in a lot of gaslighting and manipulation, and I was too young and naive to realize that in the past, but now I think I'm beginning to understand. However, I'm still unsure of what to do because my mind is too jumbled to think clearly, and I'm too busy being careful not to run into my sister or have her latch out at me. Thank God, my door is always locked from the inside, and I might call my grandma again. But I'm not sure. I'll give you an update if something happens. All right, I understand, guys. I need to talk to someone and let them know what's going on. I've made some decisions, which I will share with you a little later. But first, I need to vent a little. Everything overwhelmed me. I'm not sure how to express my gratitude to you all for taking care of me so much. Someone told me that I should hurt myself because no one likes me, but that won't happen. Many of you don't understand why I haven't spoken out about my parents and Casey until now. It indicates that you have good parents and not overly controlling, manipulative ones like mine. From the beginning, my parents instilled in me a great deal of fear about what would happen if I ran my mouth to the extended family. They used to tell me terrible stories about foster care, and when I complained about their favoritism, I was barely 10 or 11 years old and was more or less certain that I would wind up there if I told anyone about what was going on. They would ground me and take away my electronics after every argument, and occasionally, when their favoritism was exposed in public and people called them out, I would be punished. I'm not sure why though, because I wasn't at fault for their actions. In any case, I think you guys can see that I am the epitome of the word scapegoat. I wish I wasn't exaggerating and my family wasn't as unfair as I am portraying them to be. But it is what it is, and some of you have truly understood my situation and felt my pain. I didn't want a sister, but I didn't ask to be born either. I don't understand why her problems are taken seriously, but mine aren't. I've been a kid. I don't claim to be perfect, and I've been moody too, but it's mostly because I felt so unloved. I've been a star student and have been trying to make my parents proud, but they never praise me or celebrate my accomplishments because my sister would feel bad. It's a constant source of sadness. I was starving for their love and attention during the cycle of me expecting them to show me affection and then rejecting me for my sister. None of my friends have parents like mine. Their siblings genuinely love them, despite their occasional arguments. I've been jealous of them for years, and I hate that I mean so little to my family. I've tried to be a kid and make my parents proud, but I can see that I've just turned into a big doormat for everyone. Thank you for letting me know what's going on in my life. You're right, I should talk to someone, and I will. I'm going to call Grandma and tell her everything in detail. In any case, I think she can already tell that something is seriously wrong, and I don't think I can keep her off for long, so I've decided to tell her and everyone else what my parents and sister are doing. I'm done protecting them, I'm done pleading with them for love and attention, and I need to take care of myself now that my parents don't care about me at all. I've already texted my grandmother, and I'm waiting for her to respond. I can't call her currently because my parents might overhear my conversation with her. I want to expose them, but I also want to do it as discreetly as possible. Thank you so much for letting me know that I was being updated to. I'm back with an update. I'm not sure if I should call this a happy or sad update because some things went well for me while some didn't. I'm at my grandmother's place right now, and we'll be living here from now on. I think you've already guessed that something big has happened, so I'll try to give out as much information as I can. I apologize if I missed anything. Mistreatment gave me the push to come clean to the rest of the family. I will definitely come back with an update when I can, but it might be a while, so don't hold that against me. Things would get really bad in my life, but after my last update, I did end up meeting up with my grandmother, who agreed to a private meeting right away and picked me up the following day. She didn't tell my parents she was coming by, just that she needed some help with shopping, and she wanted me to go with her. My parents were reluctant to let me go again, but they couldn't say no to my grandma. I saw Casey ask Grandma if she could come along, but Grandma said she wanted me instead. I could already tell that things would be bad at home when I returned, but I had already decided not to remain silent at that point. Grandma almost begged me to talk to her if something was wrong. I won't lie and tell you that I stayed strong while exposing my family. It was like a dam broke, and I started to cry my feelings out. I told her everything, and please ask it and ask for details because I couldn't write everything down. She told me right away not to hide anything because she had been very worried about me and had started noticing how distant I was from my parents and sister. Grandma and several other family members had been noticing things but hadn't spoken up because they didn't have proof. Despite my parents' behavior, they never took any action and scared me into silence. I was a frightened, naive girl who was afraid and kept quiet. But that day, I told Grandma everything and she listened to me and we cried together. Thank God the cafe we went to was nearly empty. The staff was very kind, and they even gave us free desserts. I still remember feeling light and relieved after telling Grandma everything. It was freeing. Grandma reassured me that I would never have to experience that mistreatment again, and it was comforting to have her by my side. She began calling my aunts, and in the meantime, my parents and even my sister were bombarding my phone with threatening texts about how I should persuade Grandma to take my sister out and give her a gift. I couldn't believe their insensitivity, but after Grandma spoke to everyone, she told me that she would take me home so I could gather my belongings and that I would live with her from that point on. As we were returning home, I was already dreading the confrontation with my parents. I was sure that Grandma was with me, but I was afraid of what would happen because I had done what my parents had warned me never to do. I told her the truth. When we got to the house, my parents had been receiving angry calls from all of my aunts and uncles who were upset about the situation. They knew that I had exposed them, so they started to yell at me, but froze when Grandma came in. Grandma told me to pack up while she spoke to my parents, and I heard her begin to yell at them as I hurried to pack my belongings. This is where things get bad. I had forgotten that Casey was still in the house, so you can imagine my surprise when she barged into my room after me and began to yell. I knew that it would be foolish to argue or talk to her, so I simply continued packing as she yelled, "I regret everything." And when she realized I wasn't listening, she grabbed me by my hair and hit me in the face. I was in a state of shock and couldn't recall what Casey was saying, but she kept yelling at me and calling me names for talking to my grandmother. When Casey was about to hit me again, my parents entered the room, and Grandma took me away while they tried to restrain Casey. Grandma then took me to the hospital and had my injuries recorded, but it has been more than 24 hours since that incident, and I was unable to provide an update because my face was hurt, and I was too exhausted to do anything. So I slept like a baby at my grandmother's house, but that was probably because of the painkillers they gave me. My sister broke my nose, and since she's taller and heavier than me, she caused some serious damage. Don't worry, everything is documented, but I'm still not sure what to do about it. Something has to be done. My grandma has been talking to my aunts and uncles about it before making a decision, and my sister has gone completely silent, but my parents are bombarding my phone with texts, essentially accusing me of causing the family's disarray and getting my sister into trouble with Grandma. Grandma hasn't said anything yet, so I guess I'm waiting for her to tell me what to do. Update. Guys, I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of love and kindness you guys have shown me. I can't believe that online strangers care so much about me when my parents haven't in the last few days. I've been receiving a lot of, criticism from the extended family, so they're accusing me of damaging their reputation. They haven't asked me to return home, but I suppose they don't care if I don't stay with them, as they're more worried about their and my sister's reputation. A lot has happened since my last update, and I apologize for the delay. I was going through some things and had a difficult time with my recovery, school, the police, and everything else. Some of you have been asking me why I didn't go to the police and report my family, but I was recovering from a traumatic event. Looking at all of your comments and messages has made me realize the extent of the mistreatment I had to go through. It says a lot that strangers are more worried about me than my parents. It's sad in a way you can't even imagine, but I am gradually moving past it. I was in a lot of pain, and since I'm a minor, I'm not very knowledgeable about the law. My grandmother and my uncle handled everything, so don't worry. They did report the incident to the police. Casey was arrested, but my parents bailed her out as usual. The case is still ongoing, so I won't be able to share too many details about it. Casey will likely go to jail because this isn't the first or even the second time she has hurt someone. My parents are also being charged with child neglect and endangerment. Now that my uncle and grandma are taking care of everything, I don't know the specifics. Finals and getting my mental health back on track. I have some good news about my injuries. They are healing fine, but I had to endure the pain for 5 days straight, which wasn't fun at all. I've been placed with my grandmother for the time being, and since I'll turn 18 in 2 months, there isn't much to worry about. Speaking of my parents, things aren't good there either. After everything hit me, I began to harbor a lot of resentment toward them, so my grandmother enrolled me in therapy because she could see I was having difficulties. I've attended a few sessions, and I believe this will be beneficial to me in the long run. My parents did contact me once more, initially saying terrible things because I let Grandma report them and Casey, but they eventually changed their minds and began to apologize. They didn't suddenly decide they should have loved me. Rather, they panicked because they were receiving a lot of negative feedback from friends and family. By this point, almost everyone we know is aware of what has been going on, and they are not happy about it. My parents are being shunned by everyone they know, and Emily has essentially given up on them because they couldn't. Grandma firmly told my parents that they and Casey would never get a cent of her inheritance, which must have sent them into a panic because my grandma is pretty well off. It's unfortunate that they only apologized when their finances were in jeopardy. It's terrible, really, but I'm slowly coming to terms with the fact that I don't care. The only reason I haven't blocked them is that my uncle stated that their threatening texts could be used in court. I don't let their words affect me, and I don't intend to forgive them anytime soon. I am genuinely happy that I will be able to cut them out of my life completely very soon. It's been 6 months already, and I can't believe that this is going to be a happy update. I know that all of you have been waiting for me to make this update, and my DMs have been inundated with messages. I've met people, and they're just so different from mine that sometimes it hurts to know that everyone around me has such good parents. I'm so thankful that so many people care about me. I'm in college now, and I'm doing much better than I was before. Time heals many things, so I'm excited to tell you that I've recovered both mentally and physically. I don't have any bruises, and my mental scars are healing. I did pretty well in finals, and I got into my dream college. I won't name it, but it's good, guys. My dreams are truly coming true. I'm a little sad that I had to leave my grandma behind to live in the dorms here, but I still visit her whenever I can. It's only a 4-hour drive. Now, Casey, my parents' daughter and my sister, as I had predicted, went to jail, but it wasn't for a long time. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's going to get out next month. I've stopped following her. I saw her in court, and she didn't look well. The court ordered a mental health evaluation, but I'm not sure what they found. I'm not interested in hearing her diagnosis because I'm pretty sure she has a lot of issues. But as far as I'm concerned, she's no longer part of my life. Now my parents were charged with child neglect and endangerment once more. I don't know many specifics, but they did wind up paying a hefty fine, so I don't mind that they didn't go to jail. Their reputation is already ruined, and their golden child is being shunned by everyone, including their own family, so I believe they are going through enough. I have a protective order against my sister, which prevents her from contacting me even after she is released from jail, but for some strange reason, I was unable to obtain a protective order against my parents. They didn't pose a threat to me, so I didn't need one against them. I'm not sure why the courts didn't grant me one since I don't have a protective order against my parents. I still haven't blocked their numbers because I'm not interested in hearing how they changed their bad behavior. They had more than 17 years to do so, but they only felt sorry after being cut off from everyone. I don't see this as an apology or regret. Rather, I see it as an insult, and I don't want this in my life. I can't predict how I'll feel in the future, but for now, I'm done with them forever. I want to thank you all again for your time. I needed to talk to someone, and you guys were very helpful. Before I wrap up my last update, let me say that I have heeded your advice, and I will focus on my life going forward and not worry about my dysfunctional family.